I guess you like to see something from the verdict?
Yes, I definitely want this verdict now because I'm worried about it. The court finds it fair to judge the two accused, Bengt Svensson and Anders Jönsson, to 35 pairs of whipping each. Oh no. 35 pairs of whipping each. So is that a whip with 2 lashes on it?
No, it's not. It's more like a stiff, flexible switch or a rod. But it's 70 strokes.
It just makes me feel sick. I was born in Reading in a little maternity hospital. And as the story goes, my mum was cooking Sunday lunch, felt a little twinge, walked round the corner, had me, and went home in time to serve crumble with baby Kate in her arms, which really sums up my mum. She was a brilliant multitasker and an amazing cook and just could do it all.
Oscar-winning actress Kate Winslet was born in 1975, the second of 4 children.
My parents never had any money, and it was always a real struggle. But we were very, very happy. I think I'm about 9 here. And this photograph is taken in a van, and I remember this distinctly because my dad, who was an actor, he always had to get whatever odd job he could. And he got a job for the National Trust. And he only took the job because one of the things that came with it was a 16-seater bus. And he thought, oh, brilliant, because we didn't have a car. And this was a way of basically transporting his large family for free. On my dad's side, all I really ever knew was, there's some other lots of pubs. Lots of booze, clearly. Lots of actors, but much more than that, I don't really know. This photograph here, again, this is a family photo. My mum absolutely loved children, and so that sense of family has carried on in all of us. My mum, Sally, died nearly 2 years ago. She had ovarian cancer, and, oh, God, it's only because it's coming up to 2 years. She was an amazing lady. She should still be alive. She was here now, she would say, come on, shoulders back, sit up straight. Don't swear. Yeah, we all miss her terribly, terribly, terribly. She was very much the centre of the family. My mum didn't talk about her family history very much, actually. I do remember when we were younger, there was some rumour about some Scandinavian thing, and people would say when we were younger, God, you look like a group of Scandinavian people. We do look Scandinavian. God, that'd be good. It's something that I've always wanted to know. I mean, I think everyone does, but I think particularly since my mum died, I just would love to know more about where I come from, on both sides. My Uncle Mark has given me a letter to get me started. My Uncle Mark is my mum's youngest brother. Okay, let's see what Mark has given me. Good God. Dear Kate, I've enclosed a picture of my parents, Archibald Bridges and Linda Plum. So that's Linda Plum, that's my grandmother right there. That's Archibald. God, she looks like my mum. Wow, cool dress. The other photo is of all of us kids. Your mum is on the right. I'm sitting on my mum Linda's lap. So this is my grandmother here, and that's my mum, Sally. Linda Plum may sound about as English as it's possible to be, but that may not be the case. While I never met Mum's parents, they died before I was born, I did once meet her great-aunt Lily. I've never heard of Lily. Lily came to the house when I was little, and I vividly remember her standing by the living room window. She seemed very well-to-do. I know she'd come down from London to visit, but what I remember most was that I was told she was Swedish. I knew it! So she stuck in my mind. I do wonder where Lily and her family originally came from. Oh my God. Certified copy of an entry of death. Okay. The 29th of July, 1964. Lily, otherwise Lillian, Hellquist. Female, 84 years old, widow. myocardial fibrosis. Something, I can't read all that. Causing the body to be buried. Swedish Church, Harcourt Street, W1. So Lillian Hellquist is buried in this Swedish church in London. I've not heard of this woman at all. I'm feeling very excited this morning. Here I am at the Swedish Church, which actually, funnily enough, I've walked past several times in my life, never had any significance to me whatsoever, but now it does. I'm going in.
The Swedish Church in Marylebone was built in 1911 to provide a place of worship for London's Swedish community. Kate's here to meet historian Dr. Anne Kirshen.
I've been given a lead, which is I was given the death certificate of my great-great-great-aunt Lily. And apparently she's buried in the Swedish church.
Let me stop you there, because sitting in this church, it's obvious you couldn't have been buried here in the middle of Marylebone.
No.
She was buried at Brookwood Cemetery, which is near Woking, and there was Swedish ground.
OK.
So people, obviously of Swedish origin, would be buried there.
Lillian's date of death, 29th of July, 64, at the age of 84.
While I was checking the records at Brookwood, I came across another relative.
Right.
And that was the grave of Alfred Lidman, who was, in fact, your great-great-grandfather.
Alfred Lidman. So hang on, let me piece this together. So they were brother and sister.
Yep.
Wow.
And I've got something here. This is what's called an attestation. It's a church record that priests kept about members of their congregation. Now that's the translation.
Taylor. Taylor? Alfred Johansson Lidman. Born 1857, April the 21st, in the Ensloff parish, Halland. He was wed in the English church, May 1884, has 3 children. Right. OK.
So that's basically telling you that he'd moved from the place of birth, Halland in southern Sweden, to London.
My goodness me! He was 100% Swedish. This is just brilliant.
And we know from that he was a tailor. That was his craft.
How fabulous. I really admire that courage to go and seek your life.
Kate's 2 times great-grandfather, Alfred Lidman, married in London in 1884. London was then the largest city in the world, its wealth buoyed by trade from Queen Victoria's vast empire. At the time, there were over 50,000 tailors working in the capital, many of them immigrants like Alfred.
Now, we know from the 1891 census where Alfred was living.
In London?
In London, yes.
What's the red and the yellow and what are these bits on this map?
There was a social scientist called Charles Booth. Booth created this map to show wealth and poverty by colour. Red was middle class and pink was doing very well. Alfred was living just along here in Great Pulteney Street. He was working in the West End and he was probably making bespoke garments for Savile Row.
So he was a Savile Row tailor?
Yep. And what I've got here exemplifies the kind of garments that Alfred would have been making up, is this wonderful image of a Bond Street bow.
Gosh, how decadent.
But your great-great-grandfather
Had a proper job?
had a proper job, well, more than a proper job.
Okay.
Alfred Lidman was successful.
He was?
He'd made the journey.
And I wonder what brought him to England. I like this man. I like this man a lot. I would love to take this family line further back. Where do the Lidmans come from? What made him leave? Maybe because he had to? I'm quite impatient. Come on, let's go. Let's go now. Let's go.
Kate has travelled to Halland in southern Sweden, the region which her great-great-grandfather Alfred came from.
I have been to Sweden before, only once, when I was about 6 years old, and it was nothing to do with family. My parents have some friends who live here, and I think I remember swimming in this lake and taking my feet off and swimming. There you go, I think I learnt to swim in Sweden. Isn't that funny? Just remembered that.
Kate's visiting a country estate in Spurlingsholm. She's here to meet genealogist Ted Rosval.
Hello,
Hi, you Ted?
I'm Ted.
Hi, I'm Kate.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you
Welcome
too.
to this wonderful place.
Thank you so much.
What do you think?
It's an incredible, large house.
It's a palace, actually, a small palace.
A small
Yeah.
palace.
It's built in 1820 by a very well-to-do Count, Henning Wrangel. I have here a document. It's a birth record from 1826. And the item I want you to focus on is this one, right here. Can you see what his name is?
Johan Christian.
Yes, and he was born at Spurlingsholm.
Spurlingsholm.
And that's right where we are now,
He was born here.
on this estate here. And of course, you can probably not read the Swedish text
Funnily
here.
enough, no, I can't.
But I have a translation for you here.
Okay, Johan Christian, son of stable groom at Spurlingsholm, Anders Johnson, and his wife Anna Christina Eriksdotter.
So who is this Johan Christian, you think?
I've got a feeling because Alfred, my great-great-grandfather, Alfred Johansson Lidman, because of the Johansson,
Correct.
is this man his father?
That is his father.
Okay,
Johan
so this is
Christian-
my great-great-great-grandfather.
Correct, yes.
And he was born here because his father worked here.
And of course, Johan Christian was known as Anderson because of our name system, where you took your father's first name and added son or daughter to it.
Yeah.
So if you had lived here back then, what would your name have been?
Kate Rogers' daughter?
Yeah, correct. Kate Rogers' daughter, right.
Sounds quite right.
Kate has discovered that her 3 times great-grandfather, Johan Anderson, was born on the Spurlingsholm estate in 1826. Johan was one of 5 children born to stable groom Anders Johnson and his wife Anna Eriksdotter. Ted is taking Kate to Spurlingsholm's stables. The stable block where Anders worked was replaced in the late 1800s. But the new stables were built on a similar scale to the original.
Okay,
Hey.
so here are your trusty horses.
Hello. I'm not very good with horses, actually.
Well, this is where he worked, your great-great-great-great-grandfather. But it wasn't really a steady job. He didn't actually get paid, not in money anyway. They had their own currency here at the estate.
What?
Yes, the owner of the estate wanted the money to stay there. So he had a store, an estate store. And so he paid the workers in tokens for which the workers could buy food, milk and grain, potatoes and whatnot from the store. And I actually have a couple of those tokens here.
Goodness me.
Look at this. Can you read that thing up there?
Henning Wrangel,
Yeah,
1826.
And that's precisely the year that your great-great-great-grandfather was born.
Yes.
Johan Christian was born that year. So chances are that his father may have had this in his hand back then.
Oh, my goodness me.
And this is for 1 day's work, which you could then trade in for
I mean, that's amazing, but it's also it's amazing to see something like that, because of course I never would have thought something like this would exist. But also it's kind of terrible, because for a man with a family, he must have felt like there was never any way out of his arrangement.
Yeah.
So no possibility to save and move away
No.
and have a different life.
But it gets worse.
Oh no, oh no, I don't
Yes.
want it to get worse.
This is a death record from 1831. And I want you to focus on this item right here. You think you can read that? Here?
Drengen.
Yeah, that means the farmhand.
Drengen,
Anders
Anders
Jönsson.
Jönsson. What does that say now?
Son,
Son,
Gustav.
Gustav. He was the youngest, wasn't he?
And he was 3 months old.
Oh no, he didn't die.
He died on the 18th of September, 1831, of, and this is a Swedish word, Winslet. It's malnutrition. We had really hard
this sounds
times
so horrible.
in the 1830s. Starvation, really. We had crop failure year after year. And that caused, of course, malnutrition. You can compare this, what happened in 1830, to the Irish potato famine. Back then, it was really hard for people to stay alive.
In the 19th century, Sweden suffered famine after famine. And in winter, the situation became even more perilous. As temperatures plummeted well below freezing, many ports and roads were covered in snow and ice. Much of the country was cut off. So poor families, like Kate's 4 times great-grandfather Anders, struggled to survive.
And here comes an even worse turn of events. This is a letter from 1832. And I have a translation for you here.
To the Circuit Judge, Mr. Helmstat, the County Governor's Office hereby instructs the Chief Executive to investigate the arrests of Bengt Svensson and Anders Jönsson from Wranglesrow, who committed the burglary of 3 to 4 barrels of potatoes from farmers Per Jönsson and Bengt Larsson. So Anders stole.
Yeah, and why did he steal?
Because he was starving,
Yeah,
and so were his children.
His child, the youngest child, had died, and so he needed food for his family.
And this is after Gustav has died.
Yes, Gustav died in 1831 in
1831,
September.
this is
February 1832.
only 5 months later.
In the midst of winter, desperate for money for his children.
Good on you, Anders. I would have stolen the potatoes as
Yes,
well.
But that didn't go too well, so he was sent to prison in
no.
Helmstat Castle.
Oh no, for stealing potatoes.
Yes.
No. Oh no, this is horrible.
And that,
How long was he in prison for, do we know?
well, we could find out possibly. He was sent to this castle at Helmstad. It's not very far from here. And that castle is still standing. And you could probably see where he was.
Where he was held.
Where he was held, yeah.
Okay, I'm going to. I didn't expect any of this. It's very sad. His little boy died, and his wife must have been in pieces and grieving for this little boy with 4 other children to look after. I'm not surprised he stole the flipping potatoes.
Kate has come to Helmstat Castle. Built in 1621 as a royal palace, it's now a private government residence.
Well, hello there.
Hello, I'm
Hello,
Kate.
I'm Johan.
Hi.
Welcome to Helmstat Castle.
The castle's prison block, where Anders was held, has been demolished. But historian Johan Dartmore has found something that remains from the time Anders was here.
So please, step inside.
Very old door.
Very old door. Yes.
Okay.
When the prison was torn down in the late 19th century, they found something on the wall and they kept it and put it here instead. Some prisoner made this drawing with a knife and painted it. And this is most absolutely from that period when Anders Jönsson was here in the prison.
Wow.
And I believe Anders took care of horses, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Yes, he did. I mean, it is possible that he could have either had some part in this, or he certainly may have seen it. It's very beautiful, isn't it, really? It's so sad to me that he came from working with horses and then to be arrested for stealing food, for trying to do the right thing for his children.
And I would like to hand you something here. It's the account for the trial of Anders. It's a lot of words.
It is a lot of words in
And
very swirly writing.
And to help you again with some translation from the central part, we have something about Anders Jönsson himself.
Anders Jönsson, who has a weak body constitution and more round than oblong face, a pointed nose and dark hair, stated that he is 42 years old and has never been suspected of any crime. My God, so he was only a year younger than me. He has a weak body constitution. Well, I'm not flipping surprised. He was starving. Okay, he wasn't just a plain old thief. He was a good person. This was a one-off. He was desperate.
Not really a one-off.
Not a one-off?
Not really a one-off,
Oh,
but
my
quite
goodness.
connected.
Nils Persson from Biskopstorp reported that thieves, stole 3 beehives, and that the plaintiff found 2 pots of honey in the homes of the accused. The accused voluntarily admitted that these same beehives were stolen by them and the honeybees were slaughtered. I didn't know you could slaughter bees.
It came to a surprise to me as well. But opening a beehive, perhaps that's the natural development.
Wouldn't they just buzz off?
Yes.
So Anders stole some beehives to make honey.
Yeah.
Clever boy.
I guess you like to see something from the verdict?
Yes, I definitely want this verdict now because I'm worried about it. The court finds it fair to judge the 2 accused, Bengt Svensson and Anders Jönsson, to 35 pairs of whipping each. Oh no. 35 pairs of whipping each. So is that a whip with 2 lashes on it?
No, it's not. It's more like a stiff, flexible switch or a rod. But it's 70 strokes.
It just makes me feel sick.
We believe that Anders never got his punishment.
Really?
Yes. Because we have this documentation as well.
Okay, where is he now? Let me see if I can see. Okay.
You find him down here. And I have the translation for that as well.
Wait a minute. He died. This is a record of his death.
This is a record of the death.
What does this say?
That says this.
Buried April the 3rd, arrested man Anders Jönsson, 43 years old, died of nerve fever.
So he most likely had typhus in prison.
And he's on the next page across from his little boy. So his son, Gustav, is here at 3 months old. And then on the next page, there he is. Oh, God, I'm angry now. Now I feel so angry now. It's just not fair. It's just not fair. And his poor wife, Anna, and then she was left grieving for the... Oh, my God, no. No, no, no. In the space of 6 months, she lost her husband and her baby. Poor Anna. And was left with 4 children. Johanna, Elna, Jöns, and Johan, who would have been my great-great-great-grandfather. How on earth would she have survived this? When I think of those children, I absolutely can't stand it. Johan Christian would have been 5, nearly 6 years old, which is exactly the same age as Bear, my youngest. Exactly the same. Oh, I can't stand it. And the thought of Bear being without his dad, oh my God, I can't stand it. But I wonder what happened to Johan Christian after losing his dad. Oh, please, it has to have been something good.
To find out more about Johan's life after his father died in prison, Kate is meeting historian Elisabeth Engberg.
So I've got a document about Johan to show you. It's a marriage record.
Okay.
I think you should start reading here on that line.
Well, obviously I can't read Swedish. Something, Johan Christian Anderson.
I got a translation for you, so you can read it in English.
Yes, how fabulous. Okay.
Stick to that.
Okay, 23rd of May, 1847. Anna, Johan's daughter, is who he married. This is so fantastic. Okay, now we can feel a little bit better about things. So what does this
The
mean?
Båtsman, it means that Johan Christian, he was a soldier in the Swedish Navy. The Swedish Navy was for a very long time upheld by a traditional system. Every parish was divided into smaller areas where the landowners were responsible of supporting a soldier. He had a small salary.
Hooray! Okay, so he was not paid in tokens.
No.
He was paid in money.
But most importantly, he was given a croft, a small cottage where he could live with his family, where he could grow his potatoes, or maybe some turnips, or maybe have a cow.
That's fantastic. And then what does this word mean here? Gökung.
Gökunge.
Gökunge.
It's a young cuckoo. That's a nickname. Swedish names are very common. So when they went into the army, they took this kind of nicknames, very distinctive names.
Gökunge. Young cuckoo. Wow. Wow.
If you want to, we could have a look at a small croft tomorrow, like the one that Johan and Anna and their family lived in.
Yes, I would love
Do you like?
to do that.
Elizabeth is taking Kate to the village of Varberg, north of Helmstat. They're here to see an original soldier's cottage, or croft, which has been preserved as it was in the 1840s.
Oh, wow! Oh, my goodness me. Oh. I'm not very tall, and even I'm struggling. I'm only 5'5". Oh, it's absolutely magical. So would they have all been in here?
Yes, this is the only space.
This is the only space.
This is the only room. The room over here is an extension that was added in the early 20th century. If you go over here,
Yes.
I'm going to show you. Have you seen this hole?
I did just see that, yes.
Do you know what it is?
No, I don't.
They used to put straw in there and put babies to keep them warm.
To keep them
winter.
warm.
Yes.
Oh, gosh, how fantastic. And they would have been warm. They would have been very warm next to the back of the chimney breast.
Johan Anderson joined the Swedish Navy when he was just 18. He spent half his time at sea during the warm summer months and winters at home with his wife, Anna, at their croft.
Johan and Anna got 3 children.
3.
The firstborn was a daughter. And I'm going to show you here the first document so we can say more about what happened to her. And this is from 1850, and we'll find her here.
Okay, so
The girl Anna, Britta, Johansdotter. Can you see what kind of record this is? It's not a birth record.
no, what is it?
It's actually a death record.
Oh God, not another death.
Anna Britta, their firstborn, she died very young, only 17 days.
Oh God, I can't stand it. They were doing so well. They were doing so well.
Their second child was a boy, Edward. Can you see what kind of record it is?
It is another death record, isn't it?
Yes, unfortunately, from 1853.
Edward Johans.
Anderson.
What does that say?
It says smittkoppor.
What's that?
It was one of the most feared diseases in the 19th century. Smallpox.
Oh, small.
He died in smallpox, and he was 7 months old.
Oh my God, this sadness is terrible. She must have become just terrified of losing more. How does a woman like that carry on?
Somehow she did, and she got another boy in 1857.
And that was Alfred Johansson. And he was my great-great-grandfather. Can you tell me anything nice now? Not quite. Oh, God.
I'm sorry.
No, oh my God.
Life
everyone-
continues to be hard for this family.
Oh my God.
I wish I could do that, but
Okay.
this isn't a death record, though. You might recognize it as a military record.
Nope, I don't recognise it as anything, but it doesn't say death.
And look here.
It's all been crossed out.
It's been crossed out. This is a military record from 1859. These things have been crossed out because Johan was discharged from the army.
Why? Johan Christian, by order of the commander, on the 29th of March 1859, was flogged 40 times for embezzling several of the Crown's belongings. What? No. No, no, no. No, don't do that. Don't be embezzling. What kind of thing do you think that he was embezzling?
It's difficult to say, but there are certainly explanations for why he did what he did.
Right. The desperation. Yes.
They suffered like everyone else from the famine and from the bad times. So it was a difficult situation for many.
Very difficult situation.
We should look here. He has changed career. He's registered as a tailor in the sources.
He became a tailor, which he then taught his son, Alfred.
Exactly.
So he carried on.
Your great-great-grandfather went to London.
Yes, because I know what then happened to Alfred. Alfred became actually a somewhat successful tailor on Savile Row and lived in a very decent part of London, in a nice house.
So things can change.
Things can change. It is really a story of survival, of people who fought and carried on in the face of incredible tragedy. I really know where I came from. And that, to me, is the most wonderful thing to have come out of this story. My sister Beth actually had a really wonderful idea. She said, oh, what was the date that Anders died? And I said, well, he was buried on the 3rd of April. She said, right. So we're going to have, on the 3rd of April, we're going to call it Anders Day. Oh, I'm getting emotional now. Just have a day. God, sorry. And just have a day of being thankful for everything that we have, because it was so hard for him. And in spite of that, his children lived on and lived to tell, actually, a great tale.
Ladies and gentlemen, service will shortly be arriving to Reading. Reading will be our first stop.
Having investigated her mother's side of the family, Kate is heading to Reading, the town where she was born, to start her research into her father, Roger's, side of the family.
That is the house I grew up in and where I lived until I was 16 years old. Look, it's a sliver of a house. Family of 6 were in there. My parents didn't own it. It was a rental home. The top 2 windows there that you can see, that was my mum and dad's room. And my room that I shared with my sister Anna, which was tiny, was just behind that. The windows would rattle because, as you can see, double-decker buses go up and down this street. And the whole of the front of the house would just vibrate. And you could feel the windows going. I ain't posh, mate. No, I'm not posh at all.
Kate's father, Roger, still lives in Reading.
Hey. All right.
Hello, Daddy.
How are you, darling?
Good. How you doing?
Good, I'm good. Come through.
Good.
There's some things I really need to show you because I think they're great. That's me, and actually it's my dad, and obviously my mum.
Oh, look how sweet you are, Daddy.
Oh, I must have been about 9, maybe.
And look at little Blanchy with a little straw hat.
Yeah.
Oh, and those beautiful, perfect curls. Sweet little lady.
Check this one out. She was beautiful.
Oh, wow, I've never seen that. Is that really Nanny Blanche?
Yeah.
Absolutely gorgeous.
There's something really quite old movie star about it.
Yes.
There we have my grandfather.
George Robert Sims.
Yeah. And that's their marriage certificate. And my grandmother.
No. So this would have been my great-grandmother,
Indeed,
Florence
yeah.
Edith
Yeah,
Bick. And that's just not a surprise at all, that he was a barman and she was a barmaid. Pubs everywhere. I knew it.
Both Mum and I have worked in pubs at separate times.
I think most people have, haven't they, Dad? But this is lovely here. Florence Edith Bick, father's name and surname Thomas Bick. Rank or profession of father, independent means. What do you think that means?
He must have had money.
Do you think?
Or he was a burglar. I don't know what it meant in those days.
Interesting. Independent means. I'm very curious about that. Brilliant.
Good-o.
Kate has discovered that her great-great-grandfather was Thomas Bick, a man of independent means. But what did that mean? To see if she can find out more, Kate is meeting genealogist Emma Jolly.
Hello.
Hi, nice to meet you.
Hi, nice to meet you too. Okay, So, I'm here to ask you about my great-great-grandfather, Thomas Bick. And I'm curious about this part here. He was a man of independent means.
We take a look at this family tree here.
Oh,
see if there's
I love a family tree.
any clues on there.
Okay, so Thomas Bick, and he was a soldier and horseman, it says.
So it's probable that being a soldier, his independent means are a military pension.
Living off his army pension, okay. And he was married to Marianne Colquhoun?
Colquhoun.
Colquhoun. Amazing spelling, C-O-L-Q-U-H-O-U-N.
So that's an Irish surname. And we've got more information on Marion. We've got her ancestors on this tree.
What? Marianne Colquhoun was one of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 siblings. So Marianne Colquhoun was my great-great-grandmother, and she was one of 11 children. And here are her parents, William Colquhoun and Eliza O'Brien. William was a soldier, and his father was also called William Colquhoun, and he was a soldier. Lots and lots of soldiers. So military.
Yeah, strong military theme. So we haven't been able to find out any more about William Sr. The records just don't survive for him, unfortunately. But we have got more on William Jr., who's in the Grenadier Guards, the guards that guard Buckingham Palace.
Well, I hope he was good at his job, because he had 11 children to support and a young wife. A lot of mouths to feed. How fantastic.
Wellington Barracks is home to the Household Division, the prestigious army regiments that guard Buckingham Palace. Kate's 3 times great-grandfather, William Colquhoun, served with one of them, the Grenadier Guards.
They must be boiling. Their heads must be like furnaces under those things. Oh, here we go, okay. And the brass band played.
The regimental band are leading troops out for the traditional changing of the guard.
It's just amazing. I'm really thrilled to have seen that. I would very much like to know what William had to do with all of this. Did he play an instrument, maybe? It'd be cool if he did. I can barely play a recorder.
Kate's here to see military historian Eamon O'Keefe.
Hi, Kate.
Hello.
Great to meet you, Eamon.
Yes. Hi.
Welcome
nice
to Wellington
meet you.
Barracks.
Thank you very much. It's amazing buildings.
Oh, it is, yeah. So I've managed to track down William's service record, and here's a page listing the regiments and ranks he held.
Okay. Slanty writing.
Yes.
What year is this?
1810.
Grenadier Guards. Drummer. So he was a drummer.
And you'll notice something else. Do you see what it says here? Can you read that?
Under something?
Under age. He was 11 years old and enlisted in the British Army as a drummer.
What?
Mm-hmm.
How was that even allowed?
Well, his father, remember, was a soldier.
Was a soldier.
And it was very common at the time for soldier sons to enlist at a very young age.
Wow.
In this period, the Army was the largest employer of musical professionals by a country mile and gave ordinary men and boys the opportunity to learn musical skills. And in William's case, he would have also learned to read and write at the regimental school.
I see.
In the early 19th century, when there was no easy way to get an education, boys as young as 7 enlisted in the British Army. Drummers like William were paid more than ordinary privates, and their training offered them greater opportunities for social advancement.
After almost 20 years of being a rank-and-file drummer in a very elite regiment, he's then transferred to the 30th Foot and then takes charge of the drummers there as the drum major.
Drum major?
Drum major. So here's an image from 1792 of the changing of the guard.
But I saw that today. I saw this figure, this gentleman today. Drum major.
So drum majors were highly visible. They led their regiment, marching on the parade square. People looked to the drum major with the dramatic flourishes of his cane. He'd toss it up in the air. The crowd would go wild. He really was a larger-than-life figure. And so he was a performer. There's no two ways about it.
Well, it's great entertainment. I mean, I can't believe how entertained I was outside. This is really wonderful. Making something of his life. Hard work and diligence and commitment. And a musical talent. I just love that.
Eamon is taking Kate to the Guards' Chapel to teach her one of William's drumming routines.
Now, see if it's a better fit. Here we go. At dawn, the reveille would be played to wake all the soldiers up, and it would sound like this. And on and on and on.
Now, you know I can't do this.
No, you don't, but we'll practice a few very basic rhythms. Try to hold the stick slightly higher up.
Higher up.
Yep.
There?
Just for better control, and try to hit in the center of the drum. And this was what they told the drummers historically with daddy, mammy, dad, mammy, dad, mammy. Now I want you to try to bounce 2 with your left, 2 with your right, 2 with your left, 2 with your right. Start off very slowly.
Okay. Nope.
Daddy, mommy, daddy, mommy. Try to speed up a little bit. Follow me.
Brilliant.
Slow down. Stop.
Oh, well, that's fabulous.
Oops. But there was another aspect to a drummer's duty, Kate.
Oh, no. No, I don't like it.
Drummers like William were tasked with administering corporal punishment, flogging the barebacks of drunks, thieves, and deserters with a whip known as the cat o' nine tails.
I don't believe this. I don't believe this is hideous, because my ancestors on the other side of my family were subjected to such punishments for stealing potatoes. This is horrific. Oh, I want to unhear this now. I don't like it.
William would have first performed this duty as a drummer in the Grenadier Guards, and then as a drum major in the 30th Foot, he would have supervised the punishment. The entire regiment was looking on, and it was a traumatizing spectacle for all involved. This doesn't mean that William himself was a monster. This was an accepted part of military discipline. Within the army, it really was flog or be flogged.
I'm sure this wasn't something that they took any pleasure in.
Well, we actually have another page from his service record here, and I'll direct you.
I'm so glad you've taken that horrible thing out of my hand.
To the lines about his conduct and character.
Okay. The officers are of opinion that this general conduct has been that of a good and efficient soldier, trustworthy and sober.
So William, from everything we know, was an exemplary soldier.
And good at whipping people.
But William doesn't spend his entire career in the army. In 1839, because of chronic rheumatism, he can no longer do his duty.
So at that point, he still wouldn't have been very old, about 41, 41, 42.
And the question is, I suppose, what do you do next?
When you're only 40 and you've got 11 children? What even is this? Enumeration book for public institutions. County of Devon.
Yep. This is part of the 1851 census for...
Convict prisons.
That's right.
What?
Now, he wasn't actually a prisoner.
Oh, thank God.
Now, let's see if you can find any Colquhouns.
Oh, my God.
Page.
OK, William Colquhoun. Position in the institution.
Principal?
Principal, warden.
Principal warder. So he was a prison warder at
He was
Dartmore.
a prison warder at Dartmoor.
Yes, the iconic Dartmoor prison.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, my gosh. All right, so he's in Devon. OK,
And his family
where are his family?
are living in Westminster.
OK, so
at the
his
time.
family are in Westminster.
He's not abandoning his family. He's taken on a job that really was common amongst soldiers to do, serving as a prison warder in order to support them back in London.
Kate is heading to Dartmoor in Devon to find out more about William's career as a prison warder.
Seeing the horrific cat o' nine tails yesterday made me feel very conflicted about him as a person, about the kind of man that he perhaps was, just simply because he'd been exposed to such an extraordinary level of violence. This was a horrendous thing that he had to do. He clearly wasn't a bad man, but he had to do bad things.
Dartmoor, a former military prison, opened to civilians in 1850. At the time, attitudes to prisoners were under review.
Hello?
The traditional policy of transporting felons to the colonies was being wound down, raising the question of how to treat prisoners back at home. Kate is here to meet historian Dr. Rosalind Crone.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Kate.
Hi, Kate. I'm Rosalind. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. What were his duties? Tell me more about his position, because I just know nothing.
In terms of what he did every day, it's mainly about supervising convicts. Especially with his military background, they probably would have liked him out on the moors and supervising the agricultural work that was going on at this particular prison.
Okay.
So he's in quite a position of responsibility. You also work long hours, and pretty much every day of the week you get a half day off. So you don't have much time to spend with your family. It's not an easy life here, not by any stretch of the imagination. It's a new type of prison. Dartmoor had quite a reformist agenda, in some ways ahead of its time. It was not just about punishment,
Right.
but also some reformatory techniques were used to try to make them better men and then released back into British society.
Gosh. Which you just wouldn't expect.
No, and
You wouldn't expect that at all, actually.
No, it includes things like teaching men trades, like shoemaking, and also the education program. It was not just about basic reading, writing, and arithmetic, but they took subjects like history and geography.
Wow. That's really wonderful, isn't it? That is really wonderful. I wouldn't have thought that at all. So it's a really nice, it's a really pleasant surprise. I was fearing very much the worst.
Kate's 3 times great-grandfather, William Colquhoun, was one of the first officers to serve at Dartmoor. While William oversaw traditional hard labour punishments, such as breaking stones, a warder's duties were becoming far more wide-ranging, from supervising convicts' gardening to their maths lessons, policies that would transform life in the prison.
Now we've found this newspaper article that mentions your ancestor.
The Daily News, October the 2nd, 1851. A visit to the experimental prison at Dartmoor. Having a desire to see something of the great work that is going on in the Dartmoor prison, we presented ourselves to the warder of the gate, The governor had sent for Principal Warder William Colquhoun, my gosh, and told him to show us over the whole of the prison and answer all questions fully that we might ask him. We found our guide and intelligence officer. Hang on, so this is him?
That's right, yeah. It's your intelligent officer is William, your ancestor.
Oh, God, wow. That's a whole article, basically, about my great-great-great-grandfather. Gosh. How extraordinary to sort of read a description, really, of him. I'm very happy to see this. I'm very, very happy to see this. William clearly took great pleasure in what they were doing at Dartmore at that time, which I was very impressed by. I didn't come from very much. And it is nice to think that he did make something of himself. And so I feel really proud of that.
William is buried in Ford Park Cemetery in Plymouth. He has no headstone and lies in common ground.
I have my great-great-great-grandfather William Colquhoun's death certificate. And he died in 1856 at the age of 56. And it seems he died of basically his lungs packed up. He had asthma, and he's buried somewhere in this very, very beautiful cemetery. I naturally feel a connection with him and with all of the ancestors that I've learned about. It makes me feel as though I fit somewhere more, knowing all of this. It's completely overwhelming, actually. I strive to remain grounded and to pass that on to my kids, but maybe because I come from such beginnings, that's actually in my DNA.